I'm 27 years old, and I've been unable to get pregnant for some time. My husband and I have been trying to conceive a child for almost 8 months, but without success. We decided that in a few weeks we'll get fertility tests done. We hadn't done them earlier because it was a bit scary, but it seems like it's time now. We've been together for 6 years, married for three. I really want to become a mother, and everyone who knows me is aware that this is my biggest dream, to have my own family. My husband wants this with all his heart, too, and it seemed like now was the perfect time, but it's not working out, and it's starting to get frustrating because we've tried everything from medications to home remedies. The last couple of months, we've both been on edge. A couple of days ago, we threw a big party for our wedding anniversary to take our minds off this situation. We went all out, but everything turned out the exact opposite, and all thanks to my dear sister in law, Jenny, my husband's sister. She's 25 years old. A bit about Jenny: she got married a few months ago to her longtime boyfriend. The wedding was grandiose. She loves to show off a bit and acts like she's better than everyone else, but I've never had any issues with her, just as I haven't with the rest of my husband's family. This is probably the first time a conflict has arisen between us, and it made me feel uneasy. Jenny and I were never friends, but we always got along. However, that incident at our anniversary ruined everything, and now I'm not sure I can look at her or my husband's family the same way as before. For context, my husband's family didn't know we were trying to have a child. We wanted to tell them, but after several months of no results, we decided not to say anything until we succeeded. My parents didn't know either, for that matter. I thought that was normal. A couple of my friends knew, but everyone has their own lives and concerns, so I couldn't go to them for advice or complain about not being able to get pregnant. About 4 or 5 days ago, Jenny came to our house with her husband. At some point, our husbands went out to the garden. I mentioned that the sprinkler needed fixing, and Jenny's husband, who's handy with tools, offered to take a look. So Jenny and I were left alone in the room. I tried to make small talk with her, but she directly asked what was wrong with me, because according to her, it was obvious I was upset about something. She wanted me to open up to her. I hesitated and tried to act like everything was fine, but I must have been really down that day. I had just gotten another negative pregnancy test, and I wasn't hiding my emotions well. She insisted that I tell her what was going on, and I decided to tell her the truth after she said she wanted to help. My husband and I had decided not to tell anyone about this until we knew a pregnancy had happened, but I couldn't keep it in anymore. I was upset and on edge because we weren't succeeding, and it was only getting worse, especially since I couldn't talk about it with anyone, not even my husband. He was going through the same emotions, and if I kept bringing it up, it would only make things worse for both of us. So when Jenny asked, I just told her the truth, without thinking about the consequences that my husband and I were trying to have a child. I just really wanted to vent and share it with someone. At the time, it seemed like she was genuinely happy. She even hugged me and said she couldn't wait to become an aunt. Then I told her that we hadn't been able to succeed for a long time, and that it was starting to mentally exhaust us both. That's why I looked so down that day. She seemed sympathetic and even offered to go with me to a reproductive specialist who could help. I thanked her for her care, but in reality, I didn't need that. I just needed to talk to someone, and I was glad she was so caring and sensitive. Our husband spent about half an hour in the garden, and during that time, Jenny and I had a truly heartfelt conversation. It was even nice to talk to her. It felt like she really understood what I was going through and was trying to support me. When my husband returned and we had to change the topic, I already felt much better. As they were leaving, Jenny hugged me, which she doesn't usually do, and it was nice. It finally felt like I had a friend I could talk to. After that, we didn't talk for a few days until the day she came to our anniversary party. That was 2 days ago. Even when she arrived, she was very sweet to me, hugged me again, and gave us a gift. It felt like we were finally becoming friends, but that didn't last long. My husband and I invited a lot of people to the party, his relatives and friends as well as mine, and it really helped take our minds off thoughts about children and pregnancy. We chatted with people, laughed, joked, and generally had a great time. About an hour after the party started, Jenny and her husband stepped into the center of the room and said they wanted to make an announcement. My husband looked at me in confusion, and I froze. I thought she was going to talk about my attempts to get pregnant, which I had confided in her just a few days ago. But it was much worse. When everyone quieted down and turned their attention to them, her husband announced that about a week ago, they found out they were expecting a child and would become parents in 9 months. Everyone started clapping and congratulating them. My husband's family rushed to celebrate while my husband and I stood in the corner and stayed silent. Before I could process what was happening, tears streamed down my cheeks. I ran to the bathroom. My husband saw that I was crying and followed me, but I didn't let him in. I needed a couple of minutes to pull myself together and not cause a scene in front of the guests. I was trying to process what I heard and understand what was going on while my husband stood outside the door, repeating that everything would be okay, that we'd definitely succeed too, we just needed time. And even if we didn't, we'd manage, look at other options, but we'd get through it together. His words calmed me down a bit, and I let him in. I told him that Jenny knew how hard this was for me, but he didn't want to discuss it then, saying we'd talk later, and the main thing now was that I was okay. The rest could wait. We just stood there silently hugging for a few minutes, and that was enough for me to snap out of my daze. When we returned to the living room, everyone had finished congratulating Jenny, and the attention shifted back to us. It turned out everyone was looking for us, and when we appeared, all eyes were on us. This was the last thing I needed since I'd just been crying, and it was noticeable in my eyes. I tried to fix my appearance, but my mascara was badly smudged, and I couldn't fully wipe it off. As soon as people saw me, they immediately started asking if I was okay. Everyone was very concerned. I knew I couldn't fool anyone, but said I just felt a bit overwhelmed and went to rest, but now everything was fine. It was a weak excuse, but I had to say something to get them to leave me alone. When we returned, we even approached Jenny and her husband to congratulate them. She looked upset, but didn't say anything, and we continued the celebration. It wasn't easy, but I think my husband and I handled the situation with dignity and restraint. Yes, I was overwhelmed with emotions after her announcement, but I didn't let it ruin the evening or destroy the whole event. My husband and I discussed everything only after the guests left. I told him that I had confided in Jenny a few days ago when she visited, admitting that we were trying to have a child. So I felt that her decision to announce her pregnancy at our anniversary was at the very least unkind, given how much we were suffering and how we were trying to take our minds off this topic. My husband said he completely agreed with me. Even if I hadn't told Jenny about our attempts to conceive before the party, it was still wrong to make such an announcement at our wedding anniversary. This day was supposed to be about us, and she did everything to shift the attention to herself without even asking how we'd feel about it. That was a fair point. While we were talking, it dawned on us that on the day Jenny was comforting me, she already knew she was pregnant since they found out a week before the party. We realized that her decision to make the announcement at our celebration was not accidental, but we couldn't understand why. Why did she decide to act this way and hurt me? As far as I knew, we were never friends, but we weren't enemies either. My husband and I decided we needed to talk to Jenny about this. It was clear that after this conversation, things would either normalize if she apologized, or we'd have to completely cut ties with her. Yesterday, we agreed to call Jenny and talk about what happened at the party as soon as we got back from work. But instead, my husband's parents called and asked us to urgently come to their place for a family meeting. We decided to take the day off and find out what was going on. When we arrived at his parents' house, everyone was already there. His mom, dad, grandmother Jenny, and her husband. Everyone looked very serious. It felt like I was walking into a courtroom, and the jury had already reached a verdict. I said that knowing what we were going through, Jenny decided to make that announcement, so if anyone should be held accountable, it's her, not us, because she chose the wrong time and place for such news. Then everything turned into chaos. Jenny jumped into the argument and started playing the victim, claiming she hoped their news would make us happy and that we'd feel like we could succeed too. It was a ridiculous excuse, but she stuck to it, and her parents fully supported her, saying she just wanted to make us happy and that now we should get over it and apologize for our behavior. The shouting and arguing started, and at some point his mother yelled at me, accusing me of deliberately stealing Jenny's spotlight because I was jealous of her, claiming that's why I threw a tantrum and started crying to draw attention and sympathy from all the guests at the party. It was very painful to hear that, and it hurt my husband too. He said that if they really thought that about me, then maybe it was better for us to cut ties with them completely. We left, and on the way home, we discussed what they had said to us and how brazenly Jenny had acted, trying to portray herself as the victim when it was she who ruined our happy day and did it deliberately without any reason. A couple of days later, Jenny sent my husband a message saying it hurt and offended her how we were acting, as she only wanted to cheer us up with her news and didn't mean to upset us at all. She also wrote that she didn't think I'd take it so hard and start crying just because she was pregnant. According to her, it was a reason for joy for everyone, not just her, and she wanted to share that happiness with us. But I ruined everything by misinterpreting her intentions. She said she felt insulted and even partially agreed with her mother that I really stole her moment because anniversaries happen every year, but announcing a first pregnancy can only happen once. So in her opinion, I should have been happy for her and tried to understand why she did it, instead of being so selfish as to only see myself and my suffering. I don't even know what to think about all this, so I want to ask, did I really behave terribly by crying and leaving the room when my sister-in-law announced her pregnancy? Well, before we move on to the update, I suggest pausing the video right now and writing your opinion in the comments. Personally, I think the situation, as always, is ambiguous. On one hand, Jenny didn't really do anything wrong by announcing it, because her arguments do seem somewhat reasonable. Well, she announced it, so when else would she announce it? All the relatives are gathered. It's a perfect moment to say it. But also, in my opinion, Jenny is absolutely wrong for not trying to understand the other side at all. Because the author is absolutely not to blame for crying. She has the right to some emotions after all. How could she control it? On the contrary, she stepped away to not ruin the celebration for everyone. And if the author really felt very uncomfortable, she had the right to, and in Jenny's place, I would have understood and apologized. I would have said I didn't mean this at all. I didn't intend anything, but since it happened, forgive me. After all, we all have our own quirks, and you need to make some compromises to communicate. It's not such a big stumbling block, in my opinion, especially since Jenny knew about the author's struggles and how deep they were. Update 1, hello, everyone. I want to thank everyone who commented on my post and supported us. The stories of other women going through the same thing as me right now really helped. I just want to say that motherhood is wonderful and I will love my child, even if I can't get pregnant myself, and we have to resort to surrogacy or maybe adoption. For us, it doesn't matter. The main thing is that our child will be loved and cared for. Tomorrow, we're going to get the test done and finally find out what to do next. Wish us luck. As for the situation with my husband's family, nothing has changed yet. But thanks to all the comments, my husband and I at least realized that we're not at fault here. And we have nothing to apologize for. If they want to continue communicating with us, Jenny needs to apologize. Personally, I think everyone should apologize because the way they accused us when we came to their house was just awful. They had no right to talk to us like that, especially considering we were the victims in this situation. Even now, thinking about what they said makes me want to call them and tell them everything I think. They behaved disgustingly. My husband's parents haven't reached out to us yet, but it's only been 2 days, so they're probably just waiting for us to make the first move. It didn't surprise me that Jenny acted this way, but honestly, I didn't expect her parents to be just as smug and out of touch with reality as she is. My husband was shocked too. According to him, they never acted like this before. They always treated him and Jenny equally, so this sudden tilt toward their favorite daughter was completely inexplicable. Honestly, I think they were pissed that my husband ran to me instead of rushing to congratulate his sister, but that's just a theory. Many also asked what my parents said about this. Honestly, not much. We're not particularly close, unlike my husband and his family. They said Jenny acted unkindly, expressed sympathy, but that was it. There's not much more to discuss. I told them everything the day after the party. My parents called me themselves because they saw I was crying after Jenny's announcement. They comforted me a bit and said they supported me, but I know those were just words for the sake of politeness. In reality, they're always busy with work and were never really there for me, even since childhood. I'm not mad at them, but everything has consequences. Now, as an adult, I just don't feel a close connection with them. That's actually one of the reasons why I so badly want to become a mother. I always dreamed of my own family because I knew I could do it right. I used to be hurt by it, but now I'm used to it. I love my parents very much, and they love me too, but we don't have real warm family relationships, and for me, honestly, that's okay. Update to today. Jenny reached out to my husband. She called him while he was at work, but he couldn't answer, and she left him a message saying she urgently wanted to talk. She wrote that she'd wait for him near the office and suggested going for coffee after work. My husband was smarter than she thought and forwarded her message to me. I came to his office at the end of the workday we met, and together we went to the coffee shop where Jenny was waiting for us. She made it clear that she wanted to talk only to her brother, not me, so she wasn't happy when she saw me, but she didn't say anything. We sat down, ordered coffee, and just stayed silent. We had decided beforehand that we wouldn't start the conversation. She called us, so let her speak first. We sat in awkward silence for about 5 minutes. Then Jenny, with an irritated sigh, said she apologized for what happened. Her tone made it clear it wasn't sincere. She didn't even wait for us to react or accept her apology. Then she said that after that family scandal at her parents' house, her husband finally realized she hadn't asked me for permission to make her announcement. Before that, he was sure she had discussed it with me beforehand, because that's what she told him. But after that argument, he realized she had lied, and it made him uncomfortable. Apparently, he was the only one in that room with enough conscience to see what was really going on. An entire family trying to convince the victims that they were to blame. Of course, it made him feel bad, and when they got home, he talked to Jenny and directly asked if she had lied to him. He already knew the answer, and Jenny admitted, yes. She didn't ask for my permission. She just decided it wouldn't be a problem since the news was supposed to make everyone happy, and she didn't expect me to start crying. But her husband wasn't an idiot and quickly got to the truth because during that argument, he learned that Jenny already knew about my struggles with conception before she made the announcement. So there couldn't have been any sincere joy here. She knew full well that her news would hurt me. After that, they had a serious fight. He accused her of deliberately making the announcement at our party to crush me. He said she knew how much it would break my heart and still did it. She lied to him that she had my consent just to have an excuse to ruin my evening. Everything was done deliberately and consciously. Listening to her recount her husband's words was surprisingly satisfying, because my husband and I finally felt that someone saw her rotten core and understood what really happened. But she didn't come to us for that. It turned out her husband told her he wouldn't communicate with her until we forgave her. He left that same day and hasn't returned since, despite her numerous attempts to contact him. He doesn't answer calls and made it clear he won't talk to her until we forgive her. So now, out of desperation, she came to us and practically begged us to forgive her and tell her husband about it. My husband and I aren't particularly proud of what happened next, but honestly, it was necessary. We laughed in her face and said she deserved it. Now, let her deal with it herself. She hit us in our most vulnerable spot while pretending to be a friend, and we're not going to accept her fake apologies. My husband told her she could tell her husband that he's absolutely right to stay away from her, because someone capable of such cruelty and heartlessness will be a terrible mother. She tried to play the pity card and started crying, but it didn't work because when I was crying, she and her family didn't care at all. And now I'm not obligated to care about them either. I realize what place they have in our lives, and it's high time they realized it too. We went home satisfied. I have no idea what will happen to Jenny next, but honestly, I sincerely hope her husband files for divorce and gets full custody of the child. Believe me, it would be the best option for the child. Update 3. Hello, everyone. I forgot to mention in the last update we got the test results, and neither my husband nor I have fertility issues, so we just need to keep trying and not give up. Honestly, I felt immense relief. I was already starting to think something was wrong with us. So we'll keep trying. Now we'll try to stress less because it's supposed to be a joy, not a torment. That was probably our mistake. Also, Jenny and her husband are now getting divorced. Apparently they had issues before, and now, from what I know, he's filing for full custody. Her parents, of course, blame me for everything and think I'm the cause of all their troubles. My husband and I have completely cut contact with them and blocked them everywhere so they can't reach us. We also informed all of my husband's relatives that we won't attend any events where they might be, and explained why. Most understood us and said they'd invite only us, not them, because Jenny's behavior caused a very negative reaction from the rest of the family. Maybe I should feel sorry for them, but they brought it on themselves. My husband and I can't change anything. Well, that's the end of the story. I expressed my opinion earlier and haven't changed it throughout the story. The only thing I didn't like was that the author labeled Jenny as someone who would be a super terrible mother. Otherwise, I think everything is correct. I think she said, "But what do you think? I don't think Jenny meant to hurt or humiliate her, make her feel like an incapable woman who can't have a child. I think she just wanted to steal all the attention, and that's about it." But the author reacted so harshly here. Maybe she had the right to cry, but 8 months of trying to conceive a child isn't actually that long. It's within the normal range. Any doctor will tell you that trying for a year to conceive is normal. So I think her issue is more in her head. She's too fixated on it, and that's why it's not working out. But what difference does it make how long they've been trying to conceive? What matters is how the author feels. In my opinion, if she feels that everything is really bad and she shared that with Jenny, then Jenny at the very least could have apologized and said, "I didn't know you'd take it like that." She had the right to her tears, her reaction. It's all normal. And Jenny acted badly and unkindly like some teenage girl who just wants to spite another person. But this situation could have been de-escalated somehow. Jenny should have apologized. The author should have accepted her apology, and the parents were just completely out of line. They should have taken a neutral stance. Their goal should have been to reconcile their children, their two families, and not escalate it to some dramatic mess. Honestly, the author in this story comes off as some spiteful, envious woman who desperately wants to become a mother but can't. So she almost wishes something bad on this mother. She's thrilled that her marriage is falling apart. She's gloating about it, and that's not nice. She wishes for her child to be taken away, saying she'll be a terrible mother because of some stupid actions. Maybe she did it out of stupidity, but Jenny is also stubborn in this situation. She couldn't even sincerely apologize, couldn't admit her mistake. I agree, but many people can't do that. Admitting mistakes is really hard. Sincerely apologizing, asking for forgiveness, people just go on the defensive, take an opposing stance, and try to prove that no, they're actually the good guy in this story and you're the irrational one. I just perceive what the author said about wishing harm on Jenny as some kind of cry from the heart in a diary. It wasn't said directly to Jenny, but that's what she thinks. Yes, she thinks that way, and Jenny might also wish harm on her. No mother would ever wish another mother to have her child taken away. Those are terrible words. And there's still a big question here. Who will be what kind of mother? By the way, I can agree that she says, I want to conceive a child to be a better mother than my parents were to me. But I think we all have a program embedded from our parents, and it only seems like you'll be a better parent than your parents. But in reality, it'll probably be about the same. And overall, it seems to me that the author is trying to portray herself as better than she actually is in this story. She starts describing her tears, her whole reaction, as if being a mother is the dream of her entire life. Well, let's be honest, she's already 27, married for 3 years, and, in my opinion, 6 years in a relationship. Are you saying you couldn't have brought up the question of pregnancy a child earlier? You couldn't have conceived earlier? What happened? What circumstances? This is the dream of your entire life. What circumstances? It's not said here. That her dream was to build a career. And I won't assume things that aren't mentioned. In my opinion, 27 is okay by modern standards. But in general, it's even a bit late. By 24 or 25, you could have calmly thought about it. Well, that's all. I'm waiting for your opinions in the comments. Do you agree with us or not? Maybe you have your own opinion. Thank you for watching this video to the end. Watch our previous videos, which you'll see right here, and good luck to you.